team can play very aggressive too while he's farming it. I just think I don't want him to go Radiance and then jungle with his Radiance. I think you go Radiance and then you fight with it. Take towers. Try to get the Tormentor. Restrict the enemy from farming safely on their side of the map.
We'll see how it's all going to pan out as we do have our first game, Team Spirit versus Shopify Rebellion. Both of their first games within the tournament as well, so you can sort of forget about what happened at Rally if you're Rebellion. Clean slate, boys. Start from scratch. Still have a lot of tournament to go.
Yeah, we got a little bit of a smoke set up here. Nothing too special. Looks like Shopify will get out 2 wards, so they get the mid ward. They get one covering the center of the Radiant bottom side jungle, which this is pretty standard setup. The ward you place there, it gives some information about movements. It gives you a chance of killing someone on the bounty rune and controlling that, but looks like Spirit are more or less going to do a mirror move here. If Miposhka places his ward, oh, would you look at that? The exact same setup on the other side.
These early moves that we're going to be seeing, of course. And nowadays, we've all become accustomed to them, right? You see some enemies. That's why I like Pakazu's ultimato was so far back. He's like, yeah, usually I'd be getting ganked at this moment, so I'm just going to chill. 2-2 bounty rune trade, nothing unusual. And I don't think we're going to be getting a first blood until the lanes. And with that, which lane do you think has the greatest potential for kills happening?
I mean, probably the Centaur Muerta, right? That's a really strong kill lane. And I know it's into Wraith King, but this combo is just insanely powerful when they hit level 2. So Muerta can do the dead shot into the calling, and then Centaur can effectively keep them in the calling with Hoof Stomp, and then double edge twice, because the cooldown's so low. You are playing with a position 5 Wind Ranger, not position 5 Tinker, and I think this makes the lane a lot less safe defensively. This is where something like the heal bots plus defense matrix could help a lot against that exact play. But they're opting to put it on Hellscream down bottom. I don't know if this is a player preference thing, but I don't necessarily think on a theoretical level that this is the best way of laning the supports this time for Shopify.
See, of course, as the lane develops, if they do have a plan for this. The mid lane, Yopaj versus Lol. This is... My god, this is going to be boring. My goodness.
I mean, this is one of those lanes that kind of plays itself. They're both going to farm. Realistically speaking, Kunkka might get a little bit of an edge in theory, but individual player skill, who's better on the day, a little bit of perhaps rotation for water runes can make a difference. But yeah, for the most part, this lane is just a wash.
We hit Crepes. Just farm, boys. Don't worry about it too much. Top lane, of course, Tomato wants to farm, and he has indeed queued up the Radiant, so he is going to go for that. And like you said, afterwards, we definitely need to see him be involved. You were mentioning in the draft the laser spam onto the Medusa, but if you get the Radiance blink early enough, then you can just constantly apply that to her without the Tinker having to be overfarmed to do it.
Yeah, and it's your lineup also thrives off of having Wraith King be aggressive in this game. I think having a... If you're playing a melee carry, it needs to be one that is online fast, so that you can activate the rest of your lineup together with it. So yeah, I agree. I think Blink Radiance is good. Maybe a little Phase Boots on the way is also what he's got queued up. Can't really complain about that. As it stands, the lanes are kind of playing out the way you would imagine. Medusa and Bane are slightly winning against Beastmaster plus the Tinker, which I think makes sense. Double ranged harass is quite good against this lane. They can deal with the Boar's all right with Snake plus Brain Sap. So, and the mid is, you know, pretty much exactly even as we expected. Nothing too surprising.
Mid strength heroes. Well, it does seem that both teams have passed an armistice treaty for the first 3 minutes. How have you felt about this new meta? As it's you at Rally, of course, got to see it mature a little bit. Where do you think we are meta-wise overall?
I think there's still new tech being developed right now, but there's definitely an established elite of heroes that are just getting picked or banned almost every game. That generally happens when patches have been out for a couple of weeks or months. But over time, certain things start sneaking their way in. For example, in Raleigh, the Medusa became a top-tier pick, but then toward the later stages of the tournament was figured out a little bit more, even as a flex pick. But yeah, you give it some time. There's going to be new ideas coming in. We saw today Morphling seems to be very, very powerful in some of the games, whereas at Raleigh it wasn't touched as much. So it's developing week to week, but a lot of the first phase is, I don't necessarily want to say figured out, but it's definitely set for now, what the teams run.
Some new developments. I did see that today. They didn't deploy it at all at Rally. Nobody picked Drow, but still he insists. Army is going to make Drow Ranger work. Drow or Juggernaut. One of these days, these heroes are going to win a pro game. It's going to happen.
Yeah, maybe
Looking
Ame
forward
should
to it.
pick something else. If he wants to win, who knows?
It's not about winning, Cinder. It's about sending a message.
I don't think it's a very strong message to lose.
Well, that's how you lose. He lost. He was like highest net worth, most kills, tons of damage, and you lose anyway. You're like, guys, just a few tweaks away from this hero being very good, you know?
So who is he sending a message to? Valve?
To Valve, yes.
Ah, okay, yeah. Pick all the underpowered heroes and lose so you can get buffed for next tournament. That's an interesting angle. If you're going into a tournament and you know you're not going to win, then get your heroes buffed for next tournament by picking them and losing.
Because normally it goes the opposite direction. You win the tournament and then your heroes gets nerfed. But Ame is thinking in the future, going 3005. That's how he's playing right now.
Yeah, that makes sense to him.
5 minutes in, we still don't have any kills on the board. Everybody happily farming away, and like you said, nothing really changing in expectation. Bottom will get a bit tougher now. They're gonna maybe put some pressure on Miposhka. Blood grenade drops. Here comes Skem through the twin gate. Do they have the damage to kill him? They do, but not without dying at least one hero. So they don't want to take that option to give up the first blood. They will allow Miposhka to retreat to the safety of the tier 1.
Yeah, and they need to be careful with losing too many Beastmaster summons as well when they make moves. It makes a pretty big difference when you're laning against that hero to get a couple of Hawk kills and a couple of board kills. And, well, unfortunately for Shopify, that rotation from, even though the power shot was nicely placed, he couldn't find the pick, and now he's going to rotate again. This is one of the upsides to playing Wraith King as your carry, is he's somewhat independent in certain matchups. You just summon the skeletons and you farm. And then Skem can
The play
rotate.
here, Jopaj does have the right spells. X monster spot is out. There's the turret, there's the bolt, kill shot. Not going to be enough damage just yet. I think it came after. Not the order of effect that they wanted, but they still do find the kill. Jopaj draws the first blood, as Hellscream also made his way towards the mid lane.
And they're not quite done yet, but they will have to give up on Rue, the chase. He has raindrops as well as a healing salve. It's going to be fine. But yeah, nice kill. This is how a lot of games go. Minute 6, the supports rotate mid. And Yopaj with an early advantage here on Kunkka. He got the level 6 before Tiny. They take advantage of the ship and get him off to a really nice 1,000 gold lead now over the Tiny in what was pretty much an even lane. This is what one kill can really do when it's the first blood mid to mid. See how he transitions this. Obviously, he will not be going Radiance because his Wraith King is. So this is kind of an interesting dynamic. Most of the mid Kunkas that we saw in Raleigh went Blade Mail Radiance. But now that that is not an option, what are you going to do? He's queuing up Sanjin Yasha. I cannot say I love it. I'm not a fan of that item on Kunkka, but maybe Yopaj can make a case for it here. I think it's very hit or miss.
You don't understand the vision, brother. If he has that bonus movement speed, that means he can get that little bit closer to the Stampede targets just before they get out of the range of the X.
Yeah, but then he could buy Aether Lens. That's all we wanted for her.
Buy Blink or Aether Lens. No. This is style points, gang. That's what you should be doing, rather.
I think I like Dagger more. We'll see. It's one of those hybrid items where, okay, so Sanjin Yasha, don't get me wrong, it's a feels good item. It feels nice to have it. Status resist is nice, you move faster, it gives you some damage and whatever, but like we talked about, Kunkka with his scaling issues, he doesn't utilize Sanjin Yasha nearly to the same extent as certain other heroes do, because he can't build into damage in the same fashion, which bridges the gap nicely for Sanjin Yasha. Say a hero like, for example, Dawnbreaker would be an example where you buy Sanjin Yasha and then you use that to navigate the fight, to amplify your healing, and then go for some damage later. Kunkka doesn't really use the full potential of that item, is a way to put it.
See, maybe he's got some newfangled idea. Gonna buy Moonshot first item. I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
Like, is there a build nowadays where you go right-click Kunkka? Because I haven't seen it. That's the thing, right? Everybody we saw either went Ags or Radiance. So what is the next item? If he commits for this Sanjin Yasha, I'm very curious what he's thinking as his third pickup. Is he actually going to go something like Daedalus and play on the crit cleave? Because that is some old stuff that we have not seen much of in a very long time as a primary build.
I've seen some games, like, not necessarily pro games or pubs with AC Kunkka, but that's about the extent of right-clicking prowess that I've seen from the Pirate.
AC would be good this game for sure, for his team. It's good for Wraith King, it's good for the Beastmaster if he goes for the Drums of Slom as well eventually. Just everything that amps up more damage could be nice.
Might need some help though, because he's getting jumped. I think he's dead. Miposhka gonna hold him up. Rue's coming in, finding the angle for the dead shots. But Pakas is also making his way over. Let's see if they can bail him out of this one. Rue, lots of blood grenade, but they haven't killed him off just yet. He did not deploy the dead shot. And now there's a roar instead going in onto the Muerta. Radon, though, bails him out of trouble with the Gorgon's grasp. Some additional damage onto the beast. He needs to get out. Thankfully, the defense matrix will help him. And Scam drops a wonderful shackle shot that should lead to the end of proceedings. I say that we now have the ultimate from the Centaur. Stampede deployed. The movement speed is granted, and Pakaz is now killed.
I held that Stampede for a very long time. Collapse had it the entirety of that and was just waiting to see if it would even be necessary. But it is in the end. Miposhka, nice Nightmare dodge on the Torrent, but the X was still going, so they'll get him anyway.
Should be able to pick him up. Yopaj will be like, yeah, buddy, it's nice to try and gank a pirate, isn't it? That's what you get. So his triangle is secure. Yopaj will be able to keep farming. And while all of this has been happening, top lane has still just been nothing happening. So this Wraith King, he didn't have to participate in that engagement. He instead was just constantly farming, getting closer towards having that Radiance. And since his lane partner is a Centaur, one-on-one, Centaur cannot kick him out, nor can Centaur just completely take away the tower in the time that he's farming the jungle.
I mean, this lane is kind of a nothing burger right now, right? Both heroes can't kill each other. The Centaur can't kill Wraith King, and the Wraith King, I mean, he's got Blade Mail Vanguard on the Centaur, so you're not touching him either. So they're kind of just going to be trading farm. And what's interesting in situations like this is usually who comes out ahead is who can push out the wave fastest. Because imagine Centaur just pushes out the wave immediately. He can now go and contest some of the camps that the Wraith King wants. And this is what you're going to see Collapse doing now, is he will try to push the wave quickly and then take the side hard camp and maybe even the enemy small camp afterwards. You see it right there. He pushes it out, immediately transitions down. And I wouldn't even mind seeing him use a little bit of double edge action here to just accelerate even further and then grab the next wave up top and pull it to the small camp. But he's playing this a little bit safer, if you will. Unless he's going to cut it between the trees, so it's fine. He's going to do the exact same thing, but without using double edge. Nice. He's going to bring it to the small camp and farm this up. And as you said, Wraith King will do a similar thing. He's going to farm the lane, and then he's going to farm the trees.
Bottom lane, they did get a kill onto Miposhka, but it cost the life of Pakaz in the opposite direction. Lal making his second rotation of the game. So 2 deaths onto the Beastmaster. And the shenanigans that happened earlier to Laurel have been somewhat fixed up, even though the Kunkka is still accelerating his farm further.
Yeah, Tiny doesn't need to do outstandingly well in this game either, which is the good news for Spirit. I think if he gets a decently timed dagger, their lineup is still coming together in the fashion that they wanted to. So if he can be involved in a kill or two here and there and complete, let's say, a 15-minute blink with phase boots and soul ring, I think that's par for the course here.
Small little contest mid for the Haste Rune. Miposhka and Rue were able to steal that away from Yopaj. Gonna try go for the Watcher now as well, utilizing this additional movement speed, and unfortunately no lash on the shackle shot, so he's good. Bane on Miposhka, gotta love it.
Middle tower is under attack. Every coin helps.
I gotta say, these first 13 minutes, it's not easy for Shopify for sure to put more pressure than this, but their early moves, they've had some trades, but they're not really gaining. They haven't done particularly meaningful tower damage except from in mid, capitalizing off of the earlier kill on the Tiny. I think we're reaching the point now, approaching the 15-minute mark, where you really want to take the bot tier 1 and then threaten the Tormentor with a Wraith King lineup. So I would love to see this Radiance coming out right now for Tomato. This should be a flat-out gate play where you backstab bottom, take the tower, and then control the area. That's how you break the map open right now, because you're not doing anything, Tom. Like, Centaur doesn't care about you at all. So it's the only way you progress the map is by bringing Wraith King. So let's see if he does it. The Radiance is being delivered as we speak. flying out in the courier. And he's going to lose his top tower if he does it, right? That's the other thing. Centaur will just trade, but I think it's a worthwhile trade for you because of the placement of the Tormentor. So, well, this is the other angle. I try to go on the Centaur of all heroes.
I'm just going to lead things off. X, there's going to be the torrent. Nice sleep from Miposhka, but will it save his life is the question. Skem there with the shackle shot. Man, this guy is so tanky. Fiend's Grip instead thrown in onto Yopaj, and they dive onto Miposhka instead. They kill him first. They have to force out the Stampede as a retreat measure from Team Spirit, so Shopify Rebellion, they take the more difficult option. Interestingly enough, before that move happened, Medusa even vacated bottom because she was expecting that the same move you're talking about, but
yeah,
they went in the opposite direction and they caught Team Spirit clearly off guard.
Yeah, this actually works out quite well for them, specifically, like you said, because Medusa left. This means that Pakaz gets to do some good damage to the bot tower. He's not committing for it, though, so he's not finishing it off. And now, the question is if Spirit can just one-up them here with a rotation top, and then they take the top tower and then gate bottom and get the Tormentor for themselves. You would imagine the game kind of revolving around that right now, but the good news for Shopify in that regard is the Spirit lineup isn't particularly good at killing the Tormentor. So I think it's going to be pretty telegraphed, and you're going to have time to react and build yourself a fight there. For the time being, this should be good enough. See this Wraith King rushing the dagger now. That's good.
Thank God. You're mentioning the Tormentor. Broadly speaking, this draft isn't really that great at taking objectives anywhere on the map. Like, they're going to need massive successes to emerge from skirmish or map movements before they can go into these objectives. So does give a lot of lease on life for Rebellion. You can sort of afford to like not have the best initial fight, but leave Rebellion or leave Spirit in a position where they can't easily go take the next objective. You respawn on 1-2 heroes, you can just come right back in.
Anticipating. They're not taking it here, are they?
No way.
They're just poking. Yeah. Kind of have to read that Laurelus here. The power shot's going to confirm it as well as the summoned units, but well, they're going to try to kill off the Ancient Thunderhide. They will be successful. It's a pretty big one for the tree for it. 250.
Nice.
Pakaz actually TP's out,
honestly.
but they probably can't take the Tormentor like we talked about. And I agree. Look at Spirit's lineup. They're not the best at killing Rosh or Tormentor, but they're actually quite good at taking towers. You just send Centaur in front, tanks the tower. He has Crimson and Blade Mail, and then Medusa can stand and hit it. But they're in no rush, like we talked about. It's fine to keep stabilizing, keep farming up. It's the onus is more so on Shopify Rebellion to press the issue a little bit. And now Tomato with the blink. Oh, this is bad timing though. Oh no, he was TPing. Ooh, this one
as
hurts.
he's TPing out, as he's just finished his blink, they're going to take away the first life here. And nobody is nearby enough to make this fight really hurt for Team Spirit, but we'll see. Scam, very nice shackle shot onto both Lol and Rue, but still very hard to get involved here. They don't have the Beastmaster. They came through the Twin Gate, but he's not here with the Primal Roll. We do see jumping in is going to be Tomato, looking for Radon, but just getting held in position. Stampede with the hoof stop comes right back in, and Tomato is going to end up losing his life here. Miposhka finds the sleep now onto Hellscream. They finally brought in Pakaz. He gets the roll out onto Laurel, but they don't have the follow-up damage until at least Yopaj. There with the Torrent, getting the secondary kill. Can they get out is the question. They leave on Rue. Collapse though, he still wants an additional pound of flesh. He knows that between himself, Radon, and Miposhka, they are super strong here. Skem is going to be the one that gets seen first. Miposhka was hoping for the bigger target of Pakaz, but he'll try settle for this one. He gets away with the wind run for now. And all of a sudden, stomp onto him. Yeah, I'm gonna start respawning soon with these heroes from Rebellion. They need to be careful, Team Spirit. Scam found a very nice shackle shot onto Miposhka. Held him in position. They kill him off. Collapse now. Doesn't have Stampede for another 45 seconds. But with the help of Radon, they're probably strong enough that they can walk away safely. And Yopaj just wants to go home.
Not too bad again. Shopify Rebellion are holding their own in these fights. They managed to kind of stabilize the situation. Honestly, this was looking quite bad. The Wraith King died first for nothing, and then his reinitiation onto Medusa gets himself killed, and in spite of that, this kind of turned out to be roughly a draw. So, can't say given those circumstances that it's too bad. However, I feel like I'm going to keep coming back to this. This is the stage of the game that I think their lineup should be somewhat pulling ahead in fights, if possible. when you draft like this, you really want. I mean, you got 24th picked Medusa, right? It is what it is, but you left it in the pool. So if your heroes don't deal particularly well with the hero, limiting map access is where it's at. Oh no, Tomato still doesn't have it. So again, he's just instant.
Oh
Nice
no.
setup.
That was quite nice. He just literally left the Tinker right behind. Tinker just went home to replenish his mana pool. Wanted that additional camp. Thought he was safe, right? There's an observer and a sentry on the ground. And then another observer sentry combo on the other side. So thought to himself, they're definitely not here, right? Well, right there they are. And now, even though it might take a bit longer, they are going to get themselves a Tormentor with no contest from Rebellion.
Yeah, it's going to go on to the Bane. Not one of the best shards in the game, but it's kind of nice here. You know, you get the AoE Brain Sap against Beastmaster. There's generally going to be a lot of targets, so you can get a big heal in the fight. You can use it for some wave clear. And I would say it's better than the Muerta one, so the alternative was even worse. You'd probably be pretty happy with that. This is a classic trade. This will happen a lot of the time. One team gets Tormentor, the other one takes Roche, so Shopify will be grabbing that for themselves. Aegis onto the Kunkka, who now almost has Sanjin Yasha. And again, I need to see where this is going for Yopaj. I need to see the promise of this build before I'm a believer. He needs to win me over, essentially. But Aegis will hopefully help him deliver more in the fights. Mjolnir completed.
Good, the man Yopaj cannot disappoint the Danish Emperor. Radan is very farmed. He's now going to start building into having his Aghanim Scepter on this Medusa. The very scary thing for me about the way this game is unfolding is not just simply the fact that Team Spirit are so chilled with how the map is being played, but the gap between Radan and Tomato only grows. It never gets smaller as time goes on with the Medusa Wraith King lineup.
Yeah, especially when you have the luxury on Dusa of going this exact item build, right? Because once you have the Ags, you are effectively playing like the old level 25 Medusa, because you buy yourself the split shot modifier with Mjolnir. You're gonna farm stupid fast, and there's some serious value in this Mjolnir defensively as well. I think that's why he opted for this over the build that we mainly saw him go in Raleigh, which is more traditional, with the Disperser build-up. Here, there's going to be a lot of units hitting him, so the static charge is very powerful against Wraith King, against Beastmaster summons, against potential Focus Fire. So I really like this pivoting here. Makes a ton of sense for what he's facing. Oh, a little bit of a feed there on the Golem. Cause and of his hero too.
Fitness, he's about to just get completely collapsed upon. Pun intended, because the Sensor just showed up out of nowhere. Secure that kill. Should be able to take the tower as well. And Rebellion, do you try to respond to this? You just let this go? Well, they're actually not going to commit for this. They're backing off themselves.
I respect this. Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised too. Maybe they're concerned about a potential buyback play here, but you have all your defensive abilities except the Stampede, the Stone Gaze. No. Alright, now they go. Probably just waiting to get a little bit of intel around the map on their wave, and they see... I think they saw someone showing bottom on the wave, and that was enough information to confirm that no smoke defense was coming. And they take it on for Dawn. So that's almost the Ags. We just started talking about it, and now he almost has it completed. So that's how fast it can go sometimes.
When we started talking about it, the gap between himself and Tomato was 3k, and now it's just on 4 casually, just out of nowhere.
Yep.
And Tomato's trying to build into his BKB, so they've been very reluctant, it seems, for Rebellion to make the offensive moves themselves. Once he has BKB, is that finally time to go as this Wraith King team?
I mean, it's been time to go the entire time. They've kind of just been outplayed, right? So yes, it will also be time to go when he has the BKB. Unfortunately, the BKB is not a guaranteed failsafe in this game because you're against Fiend's Grip, and if you burn your BKB on your first life and you get gripped, then your second life is very weak, and vice versa. If you go in without BKB on and then you get killed, well, your second life is no guarantee against grip. So I understand where he's coming from with this, but it's not particularly potent. They find Collapse. Alright, he's totally overwhelmed here. Good kill.
Will they be able to get him with before reinforcements arrive? Yes. I'm kind of surprised he died there because Miposhka broke the smoke on Pakaz from the high ground. So they had some idea that someone may have been coming, but doesn't retreat in time. He gets brought down. Nice kill for Rebellion.
Yeah, don't see them getting much more than that, but it's still a nice pick. Yeah, you just got to keep playing the map like this. This is what I was envisioning for Shopify for their mid-game portion, was find a pick here and there.
Envisioning this, though? Were you envisioning them just getting the Wind Ranger grabbed out of nowhere, tossed into her doom? That's not what they wanted.
It's a small price to pay, but yeah, she's probably not supposed to be there, let's be honest. But either way, like, the way you want to play this as Rebellion is be across the river as much as possible. That was unfortunately only for 10 seconds, but at the very least they got to see the other side. Now they did lose their Wind Ranger and their tower in return, so can't say this is too inspiring stuff, but it's a step in the right direction to get across there and start trying to take away some of the enemy farm. But Spirit, strong formation defensively again. Oh, Aegis, this is bad because this is a huge kill.
Getting caught out. He hasn't been brought down just yet. This newly picked up AC actually kept him alive, and he still has 21 charges. They're bringing in heroes, but how are they going to catch them? Yopaj wants to find the X marks. Nice little glimmer cape onto Miposhka. He's the one that's furthest afield. Radan now is the one that's going to take some of this damage, but he has Stone Gaze available. Laurel comes back in. 3 heroes caught with the Avalanche, and with the Stone Gaze flying out, they have to retreat. They try to get out with Pakaz. Unfortunately, he has to use Primal Roar just to try and run towards the west. Not going to be good enough. They find him, they kill him. And the rest of Rebellion on the retreat. To make matters worse, their ages just expired. Deadshot connects onto Hellscream as he's trying to TP out. And although it looked like he was being done a solid by Law throwing him towards his team, it turns out it's just going to be more death and destruction. Yopaj is going to follow next. Boat is going to help him for a little bit. Unfortunately, there will be a Fiend's Grip that brings him down. Scam with no more Wind Run available just dies on the high ground. And that is, 4 heroes just dead. Just like that, in exchange for nothing and a tier 2 tower. That's trouble, man.
Yeah, it's trouble. I really like that toss play, by the way. Opting for the toss onto the Kunkka, like you pointed out, it looked like he was almost saving him, but the thing about the toss is when you have crash landing, the slow probably enabled them to connect on that additional target way easier and just snowball the fight further. And this moment was... It's approaching critical mass now. Wraith King has fallen way too far behind the Medusa now, can't hold a candle to her. The teammates around him are not going to bring the damage. The Kunkka has no damage items. The Beastmaster went AC, which I thought was going to be on the Kunkka like we talked about, and Beastmaster get Drums of Slom. But inverting those item choices just means Kunkka is a spellcasting bot, right? He doesn't hit for anything. He's got Sanjin Yasha Blade Mail. They can just pretend he's not there. Just hit the other heroes and laugh as he cleaves you for like 200 damage. Whereas the Beastmaster with Drums of Slom poses a serious high damage threat and is a lot tankier in the fight. So can't say I love this order of itemization they went for this time on the side of Shopify. And keep in mind, you're playing a tanky lineup, right? Beastmaster with Drums of Slom, he gets Holy Locketed by Tinker, Defense Matrix, Mech. You're probably keep him alive for a really long time if you wanted to.
Another thing about the way this game has been unfolding is because of just how far behind they are, even the Tinkers, like, the defense matrix doesn't feel that strong. We'll talk about it in a second, as we do have a small fight breaking out. Collapse, yet again getting caught, and they kill him before allies arrive. Yes. All right, that feels like a small hint of deja vu. Exactly the same area.
It took them 10 seconds, 4v1 to kill him. Nice find here from Yopaj, though. Gets vision from the Torrent into X.
See if it'll take them that long to bring down the Spain. So far, he's still alive. The Glimmer Cape bought some time, but unfortunately, he's not going to buy enough time. Very nice dead shot to push back Tomato. Laurel tosses him towards Rue. No way, he's actually alive.
He didn't even use his healing Lotus. He didn't even need that. Oh, by the way, Rue with the Ags is a problem. Here comes Radan. Yopaj.
Trying go onto this Rue. Muerta at the moment. Nice dead shot, but this time around, long range wild axes will get the kill. Unfortunately, Law put some pressure onto Tomato, so they are going to be able to claim at least the first life from this Wraith King. The question is, can Rodon put enough pressure that they make it to? Nice shackle shot from Scam, interrupting the young Avalanche toss combo onto Tomato. So he's going to get out for now. They still have Stampede to pop if they want to, but they don't have the requisite vision to make the jump. Yopaj, though, thinking about re-engaging, but not so sure about the wisdom of that one. You've been bought a second life, boys. Take it, go home, and figure something else out. But the fight's not over. Miposhka getting jumped on the back lines. They want the pain. They get him. Almost no. He's alive. This time he pops the heal. Gets himself away with the help of the Stampede. It's Yopaj who ends up dead instead. Frozen by the Stone Gaze. Tomato forced to do the Nightfall, BKB, and just go home, my friend.
If he dies on Wraith King there, they lose at least a mid lane of barracks, but at the very least keeping him alive gives them a fighting chance here of holding. But yeah, it's it's becoming more and more apparent they have no solution for the Medusa. They actually run away from Radon all the time because they can't fight into him. They know they're incapable of doing that, which is a good read. If they were trying to kill Medusa, I think this would just fall apart completely. So props to Shopify for making that the right shot call. But it goes to show some strategic issues, right? Like, if you have to ignore the enemy carry, you're generally in a bit of trouble, but I don't see what else they would do here. You have to try to find the easier targets on the sides, such as the Bane, like you mentioned, but don't even kill him. Koshka, gonna get roared.
This time, surely. Nope, never mind. It's fine. Instead, they're going to turn onto Pakaz. There's going to be the Fiend's grip. Nice Gale Force to try and bring him closer with the Shadow Shot, but nonetheless, Pakaz is gone. Will this fight go any better? Yopaj, with silence, can't throw out any of his spells here. Like you mentioned, he's just a spellcaster, so no right-click damage. On the backline, Lal gets another kill for himself with a toss onto Schem. And the chase is on. Miposhka still refuses to die. Yet another Glimmer Cape from him. How can he keep getting away with this? Tomato is gone. Avalanche toss onto Yopaj brings him to heal. And Law will end the fight with an ultra kill. And yet again, Miposhka, the man who started it all, survives till the bitter end.
All right, they basically won that fight without their carry even there. The top net worth hero of the game by like 25,000 net worth was not present. And Spirit still won that. Miposhka survived multiple times with Glimmer Cape, Gale Guard, AoE Brain Sap heals, Fears from Rue, the coverage of Centaur. I mean, that was basically a perfect defensive play around the fact that they had a ward there to give them all the information they needed. And yeah, this is easily the first lane of Barracks, and probably, I don't see Spirit needing to go back here, actually. I think they could stay and set up a little bit of a camp in the enemy base if they want to. But, okay. Hellscream with the axe. This is one of the items I was hoping that Shopify would eventually get to. Their Tinker Laser. Is it too little too late? 95% yes. But it is one of those heroic comeback items that do exist.
For me, the crazy part about this is that he didn't even start the fight at full HP. He was 70% health and still they couldn't kill him in the end. Like, what are you supposed to do under these conditions? Well, on the bright side, like you said, they do have that Aghanim's Blink on the Tinker. Kunka's clearly not going to be doing damage. I feel like if he had BKB in this fight, maybe it could have been different. But without the BKB, if he just walks into the calling, the hero literally does nothing.
Yeah, it's tough to navigate fights for Shopify for sure. I mean, the moment the Muerta got Ags, the zone control becomes 10 times worse to handle. And they're going to try for essentially a Hail Mary here, but they're too late. The Rosh is already dead when they arrive. Aegis, go to Radon. Oh, he actually killed Rosh with Power Shot. Sexy play.
Nice. He's gonna die for it, but nice nonetheless. There's gonna be a stomp onto both himself and Pakaz. They've already lost Schem. Pakaz falling extremely low. Look at the damage output from Radon. Gotten themselves 2 kills. They did lose Rue in the process though. Now, toss onto Hellscream. They want to try and find the Tinker. Tomato on the side, trying to battle against the Medusa. Not going to be good enough. Nice A-toss onto Yopaj, but even better is going to be the right-click damage onto Tomato. BKB or no, my friend, you are dead. And guess who's going to be in front of you? It's Miposhka, who does finally actually die, but bigger trades have been achieved elsewhere. As he goes down, Yopaj realizes that, you know what, we've got something this time around, boys. 4 for 1 is better than 4 for 0, but nonetheless, it still puts us in a very losing position.
That's true. This was one of the better fight outcomes in the last 10 minutes for Shopify, so that calls for a celebration. You killed the 5 Bane and the Muerta, who bought back. Unfortunately, now your base is under siege. They still had the creep wave bottom, so Radon as well as Collapse can get started on the second lane of Barracks, and the fact that this bottom creep that's alive is a siege creep and Schem has not cleaned it out means there's going to be a secondary wave coming in, and this is just 2 lanes of Barracks now. You could have killed that wave bot, maybe you could have got backdoor protection, but not going to be the case. And Radon approaching level 25, still an Aegis in hand. They're also likely getting the mid-tier 2 after this if they want to. It's trouble.
Well, he's got Silver Edge now on Radon.
Yep.
But that makes things even worse for the enemy team of Shopify Rebellion. Can they get anything here? Nice movement from Pakaz. The blink back saves his life. Collapse. Almost caught up. Thankfully, he was just out of range for the hoof stomp.
But now the grand reward for Shopify Rebellion will be they get a chance to defend 5v5 against Medusa Aegis. Let's see how they structure this. It would help
I don't
them a
want that
lot if
reward.
Koka had Shard, but since he doesn't have Tidal Wave, it's going to be hard to displace Radon. I think he's just going to stand his ground and hit and make them come to him. And Collapse has the same idea. 5,000 HP Centaur in front. It's the Glyph. What are you going to do with this smoke? Like, what's your point of contact? Well, they're going to get Fear. That's not great.
One of the issues you also have to worry about, they're the ones that can get displaced, right? Lol is just waiting in the wings. Oh no, Pakaz got scouted. Okay, does manage to get away for now. He's still alive, and they are going to focus on the objectives. And meantime, nice movement forward. There's Lol. Can't get the toss back though. They just put in a little bit of token damage, and they zone them back. They're also dealing with the Roshan's banner. Tomorrow trying to close in onto Mifoshka. Can't even get there. Yopaj now throws in the boat, hoping to try and protect Tomorrow. Does pop a BKB. They're going to the backlines. They want these support, but they're not going to find him. Mifoshka gets the grip on Pakaz. He is gone. All of a sudden, Tomorrow follows him as Law finds him in the trees. And with these deaths and no buybacks being available, GG will finally be called. Game 1 goes the way of Team Spirit after really a very, this was like one of those checkbook performances. Have we done this? Check. Have we done this? Check. Have we done this?
Yeah, it's probably going to be tough. The one upside is this is the second time I see Radon playing Luna. He played it once in Rally that I cast, and he also went Moonshield there. So this facet, when you have your Lunar Orbit running for 8 seconds, you get 30% damage reduction, and that is from all sources, and I believe this is applied before armor, which makes it really powerful. So, in theory, he can stand his ground during it, but man, some of these matchups for Luna are just, I don't know. I think the potential damage here from Shopify is just so high, so let's see if they can perform it. Like, we both agree. We think this is Shopify's easily best draft of the series. Game 1, I didn't really like their chances too much. This one's much better. Now it's time to deliver. If you can turn this into a Game 3, whether you end up winning or losing that against Spirit, it's a good look for yourselves going in as a massive underdog to at least push it the distance. And this is where we truly get to see if there's just how big the gap is between the two.
The homie Sam cooked up in the draft. Let's see if the team can cook up in the game. As they set up themselves up for a smoke, but does seem like Team Spirit were very ready for this. However, they did get out their Observer Ward, so Rebellion know exactly what's happening. Not going to be too surprised by anything. Just going to be a regular trade on the bounty runes.
Lap's going to take a little bit of a beating here, trying to get to his lane. Scam as well as Hellscream will block the obvious path. Force him to run around. All right, Scam is really adamant about this harassment. They actually still have... Oh, they have Tomato here too.
Oh, they brought the DK. Do they really want to try and find a kill
Another
here?
Impalement
Okay,
Arts?
Impalement
Room
Arts
might
are
be
out.
dead
There's
here.
the slow. Do they have what it takes? No. Deadshot is going to be there. And there is not going to be a blood grenade dropped in again, so it's going to be fine. He's going to be fine. But they definitely, between himself and the Bristleback, are going to chew through these tangos in a hurry that they brought to the lane.
Yeah, this is honestly not that bad for Shopify despite not getting the kill. Sure, you have to burn the TP of Hellscream as well as Tomato getting back to lane, but the head start that you have bottom now is really nice. Running out of region
Even
already, like you
Fico
said.
bonded
They're
him.
sending extra tangos on both.
Good stuff. Putting more pressure onto Collapse, not allowing him to just have a free start to the game. That's also going to be one drawback for the Team Spirit lineup. Lol, our boy in the mid lane, this is all of their initiation. All of their movements across the map, everything good that's going to happen for Team Spirit in the mid game has to come through the Storm Spirit. And that does leave me a little bit worried if Rebellion identify that and try to make sure that he has as slow a start as humanly possible.
Yeah, the good news is they don't have the best mid matchup to really bully Storm. This is usually a lane where both heroes just kind of end up farming. So at the very least for Laurel, that shouldn't be too concerning. But yeah, the Storm is one of those heroes where if he's your only initiation, I prefer this hero when it's a follow-through. I think it's really strong when somebody else can set you up so that you can hit a reliable high-damage ball lightning, like any targeted stun, any strong slow or whatnot. But if you have to do it all yourself, there's the risk-reward changes quite a bit in certain situations. But at least for him, he's off to a good start here. So maybe he can just do it on his own.
And is a TI winner after all, so gotta put some respect on his name.
Oh, I don't question his abilities. I will never be like, can Laurel do this? It's more about, will it play out in a way that it is possible? Let's think of it like that. Yopash will get the other water rune, but he doesn't have Sandstorm ready. So this is a little bit of an awkward predicament where Laurel is boxing him out quite hard. Now he's going to have the Sand Shroud, but loses Courier for it.
Unfortunate. So Laurel will definitely feel very happy with this exchange. Should elevate him further in the lane.
Yeah, he's actually quite far ahead right now.
Yeah.
Considering the amount of creeps coming into
nice.
this tower. So he's 15 and 5 against 11 and 2, but he has extra creeps to get as well. So he's ahead by like 5 or 6 CS minute 3, which I think is a very good outcome for Storm in this lane. I'm not saying he's not supposed to be happy, but winning it this much I don't think is the standard. He's actually kind of crushing Yopash here.
20 and 5 versus 14 and 2. It's a little bit tough, but still a lot of Dota to be played, of course.
Nope,
seem like a cross. We're done. Shut it down. 7
6
minutes.
CS behind mid, minute 3, I'm out. GG.
You must be playing in my pubs. That's how all my mid players do.
Yeah, that's not a mentality that will get you very far, I'm afraid.
Radiant
Top lane 1. The lane we haven't talked about too much just yet. Radon just farming away on his Luna. They're doing quite decently here. Pakaz does have a wave coming in, so should be able to catch up in the CS department. But lots of farm being traded. Part of the problem is that both Ringmaster and Jakiro are not really like spicy and inviting targets to go onto. So you harass each other when you can, but I don't think we're going to see a full-throated kill attempt in this lane for quite some time.
Especially not when you have meta on cooldown. Terrorblade doesn't offer very much offensively without that spell. You've got a little bit of a reflection, but that's not going to cut it to get a kill. The side of Spirit, in theory, could be a little bit kill hungrier here. You have a lot of magic damage, which is good against Terrorblade, who's higher armor but low health. But he's got a lot of stick charges, and he's completely full right now. So, realistically speaking, you're probably just happy to trade farm. Just keep ramping up.
Let's see what carry Pakaz is going to be building here. I actually do find Miposhka a little bit out of position here. He's kind of in no man's land. Fortunately, the Sand King had to retreat from mid. Oh man, that's so lucky. If Yopash was actually in a very good position, he might have been able to try force something, but nothing happens. Miposhka gonna have to take the long trek back to top. What can you do?
He's got a salve though. So he's actually coming back with full resources. Nice damage from Yopash onto Laurel. A bit of a trade there. Finally getting the first point in Burrow Strike value into 3 Sandstorm. But Laurel has enough resources to withstand this for now. And the kill will become borderline impossible with this 6. So if you want to get this strong, now's the time.
Go top onto Radon. There's the meta that you were talking about. It does give them the damage, but unfortunately they didn't scout Miposhka coming in on the backstab. They find the first blood for Team Spirit, and Radon's still alive. The illusion will eventually kill him off. And Hellscream, does he get out of this one? No. So 2-for-1 exchange. It is first blood though in favor of Team Spirit. What do you think of that exchange in the end?
I mean, easily a Spirit favored one, right? You get 2-for-1 and you get the first blood on your carry hero. So talked about how Luna might not be faring the best in this game overall from a hero matchup perspective, but you can cover a lot of bases with just raw net worth, right? You can itemize your way out of your problems. So being the first one to get the kill there, quite nice. He almost survived as well, but I don't even know if it was that bad to die, considering now he's coming back with the resources, and Pakaz is getting bullied the crap back to the... He's actually dead?
Is he dead? Is he gonna get dove and die? Oh my goodness. He survived with 75 HP, but that was a very scary moment for the former carry player there.
I thought Miposhka was going to chase that one down together with Radon. I think they had him with another Liquid Frost or a Mango into Ice Path, but maybe... Honestly, maybe it's fine to have Pakaz float around here on no health as well. It's not like it's going to pose any threat. Or is it bait again?
He's still alive. 50 HP, he's fine. He's fine. But like you say, he can't really participate meaningfully in the lane anymore. If he had died, he would have already respawned, TP'd in by now, but this is taking more time away from his presence than he would have if they just straight up killed him.
It's good that he has a healing salve. That helps a lot. So, good foresight there, getting that early on, anticipating that this level of harassment is going to come out. And on top of that, he's now buying Bracer and Raindrop, so very defensively itemizing early on Terrorblade against spells, which makes a ton of sense, you know. You're going to deal with the problems that you have. Was this a Wisdom exchange? Yes, 1-for-1, so nobody pulling ahead there either.
given that this is going to be magic damage being a big problem, should he go for the Pipe of Insight? I mean, he probably wishes he had on right now as he's getting dove upon. Thankfully, though, Hellscream right there. They even TP in with the Warlock. Fatal Bonds were expended. Miposhka cannot find the kill thanks to the Shadow Word scam. What a rotation. And they ran out of damage before Radon could go home, so he gets out. He's safe, but will have to walk back to the lane right now.
Yeah, having to TP back on Luna is half a death. Because he had Fatal Bonds on him and has to port out so he doesn't die to the bonds. And this long walk is it's a pretty major efficiency loss for a carry to have to TP to basement at 7. So really nicely done. The Warlock rotation pretty much perfect there from Scam. And of course, when you do this on Warlock, the added benefit of getting more levels in your Black Grimoire to unlock a potentially early Golem to maybe make a Luna kill happen up top into tower could be a really game-changing moment. How is Miposhka level 6? Excuse me?
He just solo killed because
He got 2 levels from that?
I think he was like about to hit 5 anyway, just as you got that kill.
Oh, here comes Jolpaj. This is a
First
big
rotation
kill
from the Sand King with the epicenter. Radon almost certainly gonna die, and the damage output is gonna threaten Miposhka's life as well. He's caught in the corner right now, hoping against all hope that he can get out, but unfortunately, as we all know, hope is a mistake. Can't do anything. He ends up dead.
Yeah, just stop hoping out there. Not worth it. Okay, that was another good overall result here from Shopify. Yeah, they lose their Terrorblade first, but the overall follow-up fight, well worth the cost. You get Sand King involved. He now has the 2 kills. Warlock with 4 Black Grimoire charges, now almost level 6 if he activates. I think he asked her. He must be 6 if he... Yep, he used it just now, so that's 6. So the Golem is available. This is a massive timing for the side of Shopify Rebellion, and they know it. They're going to push this top tower with meta. Now it's just about not losing on the other side of the map. Tomato will avoid the gank. Great reads.
Not the best part about all of this is they're gonna try for him. He didn't get out. He's still stuck. He's dead. He's gone for sure. His team is gonna try TP in. Let's see how tanky this dragon is. It turns out not that tanky. He ends up dead. They did expend all of the mana on the Storm Spirit. Will they try to re-engage? There's a chaotic offering from the Warlock with the Fatal Bonds, but there's just not enough follow-up damage. They end up losing Yopaj as well. They do see Rue here. Hopefully they can at least kill him, and he goes down. But at the same time, Hellscream almost died. Thankfully, he does have that jump, like you say, to keep himself alive. So 2 for 1. Unfortunately, it's 2 big cores that you give up. After things were going so well, you got the tier 1 top. You didn't allow them to take your tier 1 middle. You were hoping to get out with the DK, but it just all turned into calamity.
I think if you anticipate this move is continuing from Spirit, you would have TP'd heroes in advance, right? I think they were expecting that Tomato was out safely on the Dragon Knight there, and then they were surprised that he got dove in the tower. Because if heroes were there in advance, I think you crush that fight if you have a Sand King set up in the fog or a Warlock ready to drop everything when you initiate. But instead they get the first kill for free, and then when your follow-up arrives, you trade 1 for 1, which isn't all that great considering this was your big timing. This was your Golem play. This was your, first death on the Dragon Knight in the safe lane who's going for a Mage Slayer, so slower build in terms of like just hard carrying the game. But maybe... Yeah, you were asking about Pakaz's build. Is he going Pipe? Also not. He's going Orchid. So the itemization here from Shopify is a little bit different than I would have expected. I really liked your Pipe suggestion. And then DK goes hard, like true hard carry. But he's playing it kind of Skitter style here with Mage Slayer into Blink. Who's gonna... Are they seriously just gonna run into damage issues again just like last game Snare? Oh, honestly, that would be kind of sad if that's what ends up happening here.
There's another option that it goes back to your suggestion. What if Pakaz actually is playing this like a carry and he goes like Manta after picking up this Orchid? So if he ends up being the damage engine and they go like Blink, Mage Slayer, BKB on the DK, he's just the one that's going to facilitate the team and then Pakaz does all the killing. It could still work, but highly contingent on what item number 2 is going to be.
Right, it could work, but then again, why is he buying Orchid if that was the mindset? Because he has a Blink DK and a Blink Sand King. Does he really need Orchid too then? Oh, nice double stun. Speaking of
very
Blink.
nice double stun with the Wheel of Wonder in tandem as well. Both Miposhka and Collapse are going to die in a hurry. Okay, they can't save the tier 1 tower. Tomato forced to deny that one, but nonetheless, you get some very important kills for yourself and put some much needed gold into the hands of the DK.
Radiant's middle tower is under
Yeah,
attack.
nice 2 find there. And with that tower down, I guess Tomato will still feel somewhat safe despite the tower being down.
Yopaj dies middle. He got caught in he burrow struck forward, putting some harass onto Lal. Got caught inside the calling. Man, this spell for these heroes like Sand King, Centaur, these heroes that just go in and there's no way out easily. You get caught by that silence, you are just dead. That was very nicely done by Team Spirit.
Can they capitalize on this or not, though? Jakiro with 4 points in Liquid Fire. That will push. An interesting 1-1-4 build here from the Poshka will pay off big time in situations like this. So rotations being forced. Skim will try to deal with this somewhat, but that's the Storm on Warlock matchup that we've come to know and love. Oh, actually, he's going to dodge this out. Nicely done. Didn't get the Vortex. And they defend their tower. All right.
Nice. Nice. Towers are about the same HP, a little bit lower on the Rebellion side, but there's still some pressure to be applied. So we now do have a Blink Dagger on the Sand King being available. Blink is not that far from the DK, but we'll talk about the Sand King again because he's caught once more within the calling. This time he does get out, but not far enough away that Laurel can't jump him. Storm Spirit finding himself a kill, and that's back-to-back deaths on the Sand King. Skem forced to TP out right now because Collapse has also made his way middle. Because this time around, Cinderland, they are not going to leave this tower alone. It is going down come hell or high water.
Yeah, this is gone now. You've dropped your stuff. You don't have Golem. You don't have your Sand King. This is definitely an easy mid pick for the side of Spirit. Now, in the meantime, of course, Dragon Knight and Terrorblade are finding a lot of free farm, and this will be the Dragon Knight Blink now for Tomato. So this is when, similar to game number 1, with how Shopify have drafted and how they've itemized, this is when you want to ramp up the tempo. If you're buying this Blink Mage Slayer and then use it to farm jungle, the build is nonsensical. So I have to anticipate that they're going to be hungry for kills, but currently it's Spirit finding the opportunities. Spell Scream will be taken care of quickly by Rue and Laurel in tandem here.
Laurel had a haste June. He was probably screaming at his team, boys, I have less than 10 galvanized, let's fix it. And they're like, okay, it's fine, bro. Thankfully, though, that the Ringmaster tanked that gank. Had they gone further afield into the jungle, they could have come across Pakaz, who is farming here, into a Diffusal Blade next. Bro, he's actually going to do it. He's actually going to play more of the damage dealer.
What's he buying Diffusal against? Bristle, I'm guessing?
I imagine so.
Or maybe they misunderstood the post-game pep talk from Bulbo, which was like, you should have just bought Diffusal against Medusa. Like, yes, I will buy Medusa. I'll buy Diffusal next time. And then it was next game. Oh, he got cooked.
They just lost Rue. They could actually lose additional heroes here. Dude, Collapse. No way! Is he actually gonna live? Oh my god. Rue will die happily with a smile on his face, knowing that he's distracted them efficiently. Maybe not Collapse. To engage is too late. They can't stop him.
So.
Yeah.
So, alright, so you lost Jakiro to the Tormentor, which is whatever, and then you lost Rue, and you got the Tormentor for Jakiro, so that's Liquid Fire and Liquid Frost, and last we talked about
they got it for Rue.
1-1-4.
They got it for Rue.
Wait, was it Rue who got it? Oh, no. Oh, I'm misreading the log. Oh, that's unfortunate. They really would have liked the Jakiro one, actually. But yeah, Miposhka died to the Tormentor. That was the line, not him getting the actual shard. So, bad luck for Spirit, but of course, there's always the duality of the Tormentor. The enemy team did not get it, which in itself holds a lot of value. Because those shards could have been quite nice. Either the Spotlight against Manta Illusions from Luna, plus the overall Blind against Bristle, or they could have got the Warlock Upheaval one. So.
Mid lane, gonna be a jump onto Yopaj, but this time around he does have allies nearby him. They're gonna try and bail him out. Yopaj helped out with the Wheel of Wonder, the Chaotic Offering, and the damage necessary to punish Law for the aggressive jump. This time around they were ready. They had the Observer Ward planted just behind this when this move happened. Scam was prepared, and they made massive amount of influence from that, because not only do you get the kill, you might get Roshan off the back of this.
Yeah, this would be a really nice pickup for them. I think this is quite obviously happening for Spirit. So if they're not choosing to contest it, they just recognize that they're not in a position to, and I think it's the right call. You just have to let this one go without Laurel there, knowing that you'd be fighting into a Metamorphosis and a well set up Sand King. You will concede the Roche, so another grab here from the side of Shopify. And they keep this game even. What they've not managed to do after the early start is shut down Radon. So the Luna is finding big farm, but they're keeping up, which is the good news. The DK, the Terrorblade are on par pretty much with the carry of the enemy team, but and talk too much about Collapse, he's also getting there. Bristleback can become a true late game monster with Seeing Red. He's not playing the Snot Rocket here. He wants to carry together with the Luna. Sanjin Yasha on the way.
Radiant's bottom
A little casual Voidstone, interesting.
Reason why BKB for him. For Laurel, of course, he just wants to get to his BKB ASAP. But we're getting there. They have a slight gold lead in their favor for Team Spirit. But the net worth leader on the map is, of course, this DK, who also wants BKB. So lots of Super Saiyans are going to be emerging here in this game too. I'm still very curious mostly about the build on Pakaz. Why does he go after the Diffusal Blade? Of course, you know, we all remember TI9, was it? Gyrocopter into Bristle with the Diffusal Blade, made the hero absolutely useless. So I wonder what kind of tech he's going to be deploying here against this BB.
Yeah, Dota's changed a bit since then. It's it's quite a different game, but that was the thing I was thinking of too. That was the thing that came to mind was, all right, why are you buying Diffusal? Is it specifically against the Bristle? Against Luna, it can be okay, but a lot of the time on TB, you just want to really beef up, you know, and get big items like Scotty or Sanjin Yasha, Manta, you know, that type of items. So if you're specifically choosing Diffusal, you must have like a plan in mind of how this is going to pay off. We'll see after the Diffusal's done. I'm curious what his next item is. I think it's going to be Scotty or Manta. Don't really see any other strong build paths here, but who knows.
We'll have this Aegis to play with in a half HP tier 2 tower before them. One that Team Spirit don't seem to have much appetite to give up easily. Multiple heroes positioned around the area. They have some vision to protect against the potential wrap. And they haven't seen said wrap, so now they're going to smoke up themselves. Heading top, I think they scouted Pakaz. They see the Terrorblade. Pakaz in danger inside the calling and absolutely no way out. Scam did his best with the Tumbler's Tway, but couldn't catch up in time. But now here he is, hoping to try and turn the fight. They can drop the Chaotic Offering. Not just yet. It's going to be Tomato revealing the Blink Dagger. They go forward onto this Muerta, but Rue just now TP's out. Niposhka doesn't have that luxury though. His TP's on cooldown for another 10 seconds. So Tomato will be able to finish him off. In the meantime, Yopaj is trying to get himself towards getting a young little Lotus, but unfortunately they get gold off of his head instead.
Yeah, that was a bit... I wonder what he was trying to do there on Laurel, but that's a pretty big death. I guess he felt safe, but he got caught by the... He got spotted by the Impalement Arts into Atos, into Whip, into stun... genuinely just chain stunned from 80 to 0 there, and that's a really big kill, delaying his BKB. He was very close to it. They're not going to get any objectives off of it, but it's a nice little free pick for them. Nice dead shot will break Skem's TP and cause at least one kill the other way as Collapses very fast.
And they defend the tower. Like, I thought they were going to be able to take it, but 300 HP, still standing, still have map presence in this area. Okay. You know, actually, with all that chain disable that we saw in the Storm Spirit, perhaps another angle for this Diffusal Blade. If that happens with all the Terrorblade illusions nearby, you can make sure that after the stuns end, Storm doesn't really have easy tools out of that situation.
It's a lot of mana to burn with just the TB hitting, but it's a decent damage item and it offers some utility. I don't hate it, but it's just uncharacteristic, I think, for this game. I believe we have yet to see Pakaz even use his Orchid, so that also didn't do too much compared to just ramping up and playing greedier. And now he's going to go for BKB, so opting for that instead of Scotty or Manta, those were the other two options. I think this is also fine, but it does leave you in this awkward spot health-wise. That's why Scotty is such a good item on this hero, is, or Sanjin Yasha, or Manta. You want something that gives you strength, because your health is so bad. His max HP is still sitting at 1300 right now, so he's very vulnerable. Look at Luna now, grabbing the Aghanim Scepter here, Radon. He'll be able to throw the Eclipse onto the Storm or the Bristle as they go in and just cause absolute mayhem. This is a strong timing for them, and they recognize that they're going to smoke up, and this could be a very big fight breaking out.
Okay.
The Pushka will bait.
Goes forward, Tomato not going to be able to kill him. Actually, not speaking. Doesn't have the right vision though, so Miboska's going to live. In the meantime, on the backline, they dove that fight, but Yopaj, him and Scam turned the engagement around. The Barrow Strike on top of the Chaotic Offering. Storm Spirit and the Muerta already dead. Impalement Arts barely misses the bristle, so Collapse could survive. He's trying to TP out right now. They're not going to catch him. He's going to be gone. But man, what a fight. That was probably best case scenario. You have 4 heroes. They don't have their carry, but the counter initiation from Rebellion just too good in that moment.
Yeah, considering the way Tomato started that out, I can't say I love that Jakiro solo dive. He went on top of the Jakiro completely alone. If he had any backup, that's just an instant support kill and you build from there. Instead, your carry committed the entire fight plus his BKB to more or less accomplishing kind of nothing. But the setup, it worked out. They ended up getting the big combo, as you mentioned, but that is now on cooldown. So what do you do next? No Golem now. Well, you still have Meta and Epi, so I guess you still have some fighting prowess, but Spirit, they'll go again. Eclipse is ready once more. This is a 70-second cooldown, mind you. Running this with Ags is a very frequent kill squad. Drawing the circle down here, Pakaz is about to walk into it. Radon, we'll see him here. He is in major trouble. They just need to jump with the storm. And he's
Ringmaster came through the twin gate, hoping to try find the angle for the escape act, but certainly not going to be happening. With the Aghanim Scepter on Radon, just lay it in onto the Storm Spirit. Easy kill. Nicely done there. On the bright side, they did take the tier 2 top, so not completely wasted on the map. They did get something out of their efforts.
This game definitely feels way more winnable for Shopify than the previous game did at 25 minutes, I'll tell you that. Last game at this point, they were kind of... I don't even know what odds I would have given them at 24. In this one, this is kind of a dead even game, and there's tons of potential for both lineups to get there. Say that Scam will be caught. As we'll find here for Rue and Laurel, the kill squad out there. But now they need to get out too. Laurel being hounded by supports, but no DK nearby.
Dire Scan connects, Laurel gets out. Well, by the way, his death was your fault. You casters cursed him, so that's on you, man.
My bad. I have a lot of power.
You are the Emperor, of course, right?
Yeah, that's right. I actually get to call the outcome of fights before they even happen. I just write, I have a little book. I write who's winning and how they win. And then it just happens.
So you have
it's
the
like
Dota notes.
Dota Death Note, yeah, exactly. I choose who gets to achieve glory.
3k gold lead, so Team Spirit, their lead has been shaved off. We have all these heroes back on the map. BKB still being built by the TB, but BKB, of course, not that far away for him, given that he only needs what? How much gold does he need at this point? About 1,005. So
Yeah.
he's been relatively ignored. He's been chilling, gonna go back to what he's been doing. And he does have, you know, the attack speed he got from the Orchid didn't really help his farm pace, since it doesn't apply to the illusions, but the Diffusal certainly will. So we should see him ramp up a little bit, thanks to this item being available.
Yeah. I don't know about you. I feel like this item build has been a miss for me this game. If you've barely used the Orchid and Diffusal at all as offensive items, and then you're falling back to farming, I think he could have had 2,000 or 3,000 more net worth with the carry itemization from the offlane. Just rushing Manta, going Scotty, and then potentially BKB if you want that. So maybe a little bit too much of the same thing, but it's easy to say from our perspective as well. The fights might not have opened up the way they imagined. Tomato will be forced to BKB here by Laurel. They both pop BKBs as a matter of fact. Ron's gonna keep diving.
Letting this one go.
It's a
He's actually going on
BKB
the
Dragon
high
Eye, bro. What are you expecting?
Yopaj with the Epi now. Okay, that's what he was expecting. He baited out the Epi, and now they've caught Yopaj. All right, Laurel gone. Laurel knows what's up.
No.
Now he goes back in with the Eclipse on top of him. They bring down Pakaz as well. And all of a sudden, Team Spirit are on the high ground, taking a lane of racks. Tier 3 is gone. Luna's on your high ground. Your base is going to be in shambles.
What was that? That's actually, the fact that that worked as a bait is so... I don't know if that was the overall plan, but it kind of might seem like it after all said and done. He just chased a BKB Dragon Knight as a BKB Storm for like 6 seconds and effectively baited out a counter initiate that failed. And now they get a lane. Okay. Maybe the logic was if I stick on Dragon Knight long enough, I'm going to get Eclipse, and then I will kill him when BKB runs out. And then the Rebellion kind of just gave them the fight they were hoping for by going in a bit too early.
Can confirm that that one is your fault as well, because...
Yeah, I was about to say, just, you know.
No, you said 2 minutes before you were like, they're in a much better position than in game 1, you know? At this exact moment in the game. And then 2 minutes later, you're a lane of racks down.
Okay, what do you want me to call here? What are you hoping for? What do you want?
Okay. Somehow convince me Tomato lives here. Okay, he's fine.
Yeah, well,
Got that just in time.
he's alive. Okay, wait, they smoked. Oh no. Let's see. Well, he has BKB, Gem, and Dragon Form ready. So he's very strong in this moment. But again, Eclipse, Spirit have everything ready. This fight is actually not easy to take for the side of Shopify. They need to find a good attack angle. They're trying to wrap around, anticipating that Spirit might be doing Roche, but the scan marks red. And Spirit are in a really good position. You notice how they're covering all the entrance points with a hero each. Just to break smoke, and now collapse. Start moving forward. If this fails for Shopify, the game is actually over. Sub 30. They cannot afford to get a bad fight here, and they will give up the area and go toward mid. And the unfortunate thing is they popped Dragon Form, and Tomato is showing that on the wave. So now Spirit know that if a fight were to break out in 30 seconds, they would have that inherently massive advantage of the transformation hero being down. And they're going to use that exact info to just force the issue. Straight toward the high ground. Now, Daedal is picked up for Tomato is good news. It's big damage, but doesn't work quite as well without the cleave.
I'll also say that one of the issues that they're experiencing is, you know, Team Spirit has 3 BKBs. They have 1 to play with, so not having those BKBs makes it a big problem dealing with Ru and Mikoshka in particular. Now,
the jump.
Going
Eclipse.
right in with the jump. Eclipse everywhere. Can they kill anybody? BKB from this Dragon Knight forces them back. So for now, the answer is no. Very nicely done by Rebellion to be ready for that one. And the big thing is they did not deploy their big ultimates to force them back there. They still have the Epicenter. They still have Chaotic Offering. They still have the Wheel of Wonder. They can still fight.
Yep. Yatoro pressing as much out of that as he could. That was basically a squeeze push. He got half the tower, despite not really forcing much except the defensive BKB, as you mentioned. So, okay, it's a hold for Shopify. Now the question is, can you get out and contest the Roche? Because if you can't, you know this push is coming again in 30 seconds when he has Eclipse again. That seems to be the one thing that Spirit will want to wait for, is that Luna ult every time. And they are not at all in a position to get this. So we'll go the way of Radon or Laurel. Let's see who they put the Aegis on. It will be Radon. And now they have a banner, so the next push will be all that much scarier for the side of Shopify to try to deal with. Because is close to the BKB that we've talked about. Really needs to get there on that offlane Terrorblade to start truly scaling.
Even if he does, though, they're only going to be having 2 BKBs. They're still lacking one on Yopaj. And he's still 950 gold away. There's no way I'll have a BKB before the next fight comes. So this is going to be a stressful moment for Shopify Rebellion. Think about how we can hold this high ground. But at the same time, maybe not, because for Team Spirit, if I'm looking at the way this game is unfolding, am I really in a rush? Do I feel like I have to try and force the issue? Or do I just try to take over bottom as well, take their tier 2, get the next Tormentor, not stress myself too much? Because once they do get the BKBs, sure, they'll have them, but they're not going to have the requisite damage items to also threaten Spirit at the same time.
I wouldn't mind seeing Spirit really pushing for it here. I get what you're saying, that you're not in a hurry, and technically that's true, but I don't think this game is significantly harder now than in, say, 5 minutes. Not by enough that you didn't want to use the Aegis, right? At the very least, see what you can force out of Shopify here by using the Aegis. You might just be able to finish the game. If you're not, you can reset and go back to plan B of controlling the map. But just using this Aegis to farm, I personally think would just be a mistake. And it looks like Spirit have the same read. They are planning a full-on siege here. Radon about to get to work with a freshly picked up Butterfly arriving at the perfect timing. He is very, very strong now.
Butterfly with the Moon Shield, Aegis. Yeah, good luck, gang. Good luck.
Yeah.
Collapse, of course, is another difficult customer. You know, he has his
You
Voodoo
gotta
Mask,
get
going into
started.
the Bloodstone.
If
How
this
do you do
tower
this?
falls, you just lose a lane. Like, they can't just let him take this for free. You have to start something. That's the glyph.
Yopaj, it's all on you, gang. He just picked up his BKB. Oh no, the fear, and now they jump Pakaz. He's gone. No buyback because he bought out for the BKB.
No.
And now Lol chasing in onto the backlines, forcing Hellscream to just use escape back on himself. Yopaj, BKB epicenter, but he can't go forward. They cancelled his blinks in. He's in the base right now, in the fountain, just having to watch. And they even throw an eclipse on Collapse's body. He eviscerates them in the base. All right, guys, you gotta call it. That's it. GG, well played is called. Shopify Rebellion get demolished in game 2. It looked so promising, it looked so good, but unfortunately, nothing can stand between the power of team spirit and nothing can stand between the power of the Emperor Cinder and Curse.
I guess so. I mean, honestly, that was a letdown, but that was how that ended. Well, that defense just fell completely flat. I was saying, all right, you got to do something. They send in the Terrorblade to try and destroy the banner. He just goes in melee form without popping BKB, gets insta-killed, doesn't have buyback, and then they miss every spell. And it was just over. That was, honestly, it was always going to be a hard defense. Don't get me wrong. This was never going to be easy, but of all of the options, if you go down the decision-making tree, that has to be one of the worst possible ways they could have chosen to defend that. That's a letdown, but it's also, you know, it's high pressure moments. You're playing against a world-class team. It's always going to be tough. But I can't help but feel like Shopify in both games, they have to be kicking themselves a little bit with that itemization. I'm going to come back to it again. The Terrorblade went Orchid, Diffusal. I feel like he never used either item. Then he finally gets his BKB and also doesn't use that and just loses the game. So it's like, you know, all that net worth, kind of for nothing. And Spirit just crushed them in 2 decisive team fights and finish it off.
Still crazy how the first one started, you know, BKB, Stall Spirit baiting out a BKB from the DK and then forcing them to epi outside the base. Then they crush the fight, take racks out of nowhere. But this was, yeah, this might be one of the more, let's say, lackluster defenses that I've seen in quite some time. You know, we're talking about the damage issues that Rebellion had in game 1. Thought that they might fix some of that in game 2. Across the board, they had a bit more damage on some of their heroes.